This one was supposed to be an easy project, but when is it ready? But don't let me get ahead of myself. Let's start from the beginning. Here I'm participating in the Furniture Flipping YouTubers Charity Challenge, hosted by Angie over Transcend Furniture Gallery. This pair of bedside tables is a very good example of typical Spanish particle board furniture. It's dated mid-80s, more or less. Here you see there are bits and pieces that are broken. Both of the nightstands, well, apart from being filthy, they miss the marble tops they're supposed to have. Here we've got a loose leg. But apart from the tops and apart from the legs, they're actually in a very good condition. For me, the first thing to tackle was getting rid of the extra trim. I wasn't going to replace the marble tops. Call me weird, but I'm not a fan of those tops, stone and it's just, I don't know, it doesn't look good to me. If you're a fan, great. To me, that wasn't going to happen. So I got rid of the trim on both tables. I sanded the tops smooth and I scuff sanded everything. Of course, as usual, my first thing to do was to clean the piece. Obviously, then I do all the repairs, sanding, scuff sanding, and then I cleaned everything. Again, as apparently redesigning furniture creates loads of dust. But anyway, the divorce gave me loads of headache. I had to be like super extra creative to take the hardware off. And actually, to be totally honest with you, very often I was so desperate because the screws wouldn't budge. I was just, lifting the hardware a little bit off the doors and just pulling the screws out instead of unscrewing them. I was desperate. And because I was going to change the hardware, I already knew I was going to change the hardware, that was okay. When I got tired of the hardware, I started pulling off the trim. I didn't want it. It's plastic. As I said, here only just the structure of the nightstand was solid wood. Rest is particle board, melamine on particle board. This is plastic. However, because I liked the design of the trim, I decided to keep it even though it was plastic. You know, actually, you never know. You never know. As for the challenge, what we had to do is take a piece of furniture, upcycle it, whether you would like to paint it or restore it or do whatever, and or donate profits or donate the actual piece to charity. And I decided for the second option. So the piece you see me creating will be donated next week, at the beginning of next week, to my chosen charity. I need to confess that I never actively participated in charity. What I want to say is that I never planned on doing it. It was, in my case, it was always spontaneous thing, like seeing someone on the street asking for food, and then just acting on my impulses and going to a supermarket and buying this person some food or a meal in a restaurant or something. So that's more me, more spontaneous thing. But Angie shared this idea with us, and I thought, yeah, that's a very good idea. I could actually give back, although I'm not a wealthy person. It's, that I am raising funds for Kitty, She's saying hello, by the way. Because I can't afford to keep another cat, but still I thought it was a good idea and that I should participate. And I am awfully sorry this video is coming out so late. It's supposed to be aired on Saturday, but well, things were going south too often. A few times too often. So when I had all the repairs done, it was priming time. I use water-based primer. I never used, almost never used oil-based products because I work in my flat, as you probably remember. And well, I can't really afford to have all those odors in my flat. This is my living room. I live here. I've got my cats. I've got my kids. So anything that produces fumes, well, it's off limits. And yes, I mentioned my cats before mentioning my children. Anyway, let's get back to the challenge and back to the pieces. I filled in the trim holes, the hardware holes, any scratches and dings, whatever there was to be. I was trying to create a flat surface because I had something cute and special planned for this piece. I didn't mind having a bit of texture on the top of the bedside tables. However, here the grain was very, very, very visible and the surface was super uneven. So I decided to fill everything with the wood filler, and then I sanded everything smooth, and obviously I cleaned the piece again. And of course, all that under the watchful eye of the junior assistant of the quality team, Kitty. I used 240 grit sandpaper to just make it pretty smooth. I mean, I'm not worried about brush strokes or anything because that's the look I'm going for. But the top just didn't look good. And guys, I turned around just for 3 seconds and I had the whole quality team supervising me. And as you can see, the supervision was totally inside out, very thorough. Hi. I absolutely adore my cats, but if you ask why things go super slow around here, it's like, here is your answer. Just try not to give scratches or cuddles, or just try not to just stand there and laugh at what they're doing. So yeah, I'm terribly sorry, but as you can see, I was totally entertained. Because I wanted really nice lines in my paint, what I did is I taped off all the areas I didn't want my paint to get on, and here I'm using some top coat to seal the tape to give me nice and clean lines. So here you go, we've got here one of my hacks. After sanding all my extra repairs and fillings and everything, I decided to give the piece another coat of primer. I really wanted my paint to adhere very well. I'd like this piece to last for decades if possible. So yes, I'm priming, giving it a second coat. And while I was working, well, it was pouring down, like really, really, really pouring down, like really hard. You need to know that here where I live, in the south of Spain, we've got two types of rain. Or it's pouring down like this, or it's drizzling mud. So just two types of rain. But anyway. And yeah, we even had some hail, which is quite uncommon for where I live. And I need to tell you that at that point, I was actually really worried about my patio. As you can see, it was really pouring down, and all the sewers, well, they had a really, really, really hard time of collecting all the water. So this is my patio, and I started to worry that I might have my kitchen flooded, but in the end, it was okay, which was good. You got a little bit of hail that we experienced. The primer I use usually needs around 8 hours to dry to be fully prepared for paint. So what I do is use primer, I mean prime, not use primer, just generate prime as the last activity before uh, you know, just finishing for the day. So then it can dry overnight, and then I can come back to my piece the next day. Here I'm using this kind of like antique powder rose paint by Amélie Prager, and I am not a fan. Again, I'm not a fan of pink. Okay, I don't use wear pink, but actually this color is really nice. It's very soft, very elegant, and the paint was getting on super smooth. So I was super happy with my experience here. I left out a square in the center because I want to do some blending here. It's just to give the piece more interest. And at this point, I decided that, well, I was going to just go wild in it, like, full catcha on the piece. So, yeah, wait for it. I promise you won't be disappointed. And to be honest, I think this is the piece I put most work into, most hard. I think I poured, this is the piece I poured most of my, I mean, okay, I pour my whole heart into every single piece I redesigned. However, this one was like, this one had some extra of all my feelings, effort, love, um, you know, take a little bit more of TLC. I don't know why, maybe it was just the cause or but yeah, that's my most cherished baby so far. As I said before, I don't mind texture on my piece. So I go with my brush in every which direction. And I do the same on the body of the piece. The nightstand's got 3 layers of paint on the top and 2 on the sides. And if you think that first idea is the one that you actually see on your final version, well, no. And here is example of my first idea. I wanted to paint the top white, but as I was doing it, I realized that no, that's not a good idea. I didn't want that. So I just cleaned the top. Okay, I took a microfiber cloth and just wiped the white paint off and painted the top pink. So I've got 2 coats of paint here, and now I'm taping my stripes. As I said, I'm going wild on these. I wanted to make them super pretty, super attractive, so I'm very carefully placing the tape, and I'm getting ready for the paint. I use bits of tape to be my spacers, just to make sure that all my stripes are even. And of course, I sealed that with a top coat, again, not to have any bleed through. This job is extremely tedious, but I'm telling you, it's worth every single minute you spend on it. Off-white for the stripes. Now, as I was having a little break from the project, well, someone decided to get into my car and steal some things that I had inside. I mean, nothing of real value, but well, just all those things make my life easier. For example, my dance shoes. Okay, the people took 3 pairs of my dance shoes that were in my car, but anyway, I used only 1 layer of white paint to create the stripes. I didn't want a very good coverage. I want you to be able to see the layers, so I want you to be able to see the ombre effect. I want you to be able to see the stripes, and well, there will be more. Now, the super satisfying moment of pulling off all the painter's tape just to see my nice crisp lines of the stripes. And I need to tell you, just right now, the furniture looks actually really nice. I really like it just as it is. But as I said, I'm going wild on it, and I'm not done with it just yet. We've got blending, we've got stripes, and now it's the stencil time. Yeah, so I'm using here Rust-Oleum gold metallic paint. I know that it's really kind of fashionable to use a gold leaf and everything, but I thought, okay, I don't have time to learn gold leafing right now. I don't have gold leaf at home at all, but I do have gold paint, especially this kind of like you know, not really shiny gold. It's more like aged gold. And again, this is something I want for my piece. So I had it, I used it, and it fitted perfectly. Remember I said I'm going wild with it? So basically I put the stencil everywhere. No, just joking. I used it on the sides of the bedside tables and on the sides of the drawers just to have something nice for whoever decides to buy these nightstands. I really like working with my foam roller when I'm stenciling. It's just a foam roller doesn't put a lot of paint on your piece, and the lines of the stencil are a lot crispier. So here you go. So pretty. I love it. It's just, as I said, I don't really like pink, but this pale pink, this powder pink, and this old gold is just perfect combination to me. Okay, perfect combination. To be able to move to the next part of my project, I had to use this clear wax to seal my bedside tables inside. and seal the sides of the drawers, and only the sides of the drawers, the insides of the bedside tables, and the rails where the drawers were sliding. So all that had to be protected because I had to put the drawers back in. I had this rice paper lying around for quite some time, and I thought that this this project, this challenge, is the perfect opportunity to use the paper. Now, a little trick: if you keep your paper like me rolled, to keep it straight and to be able to work on it, you need to roll it up the other way around. Hold it in your hands for a bit so the warmth of your hands and the tiny bit of humidity warms the paper, and voila, paper is nice and straight. I've seen many people using water to help with tearing the edges, so this is what I'm doing here. And yes, I do confirm that this makes tearing off the white frame a lot easier. By the way, guys, did you know that in the challenge have participated very many talented YouTubers? And well, I would like to encourage you to have a look at the playlist. Check with everyone out because there are very many talented people out there. And please, obviously, subscribe to their channels. It's free for you, but to us creators and creators of small channels, your subscription, your comments, and your likes, they mean the world to us. So please, please, please check out other people and subscribe and like and comment. So this is my final product, and now I need to stick it on the drawer front. I need to tell you that I'm not the ambassador of this brand here. They don't pay me anything. I'm not sponsored by them. I don't mind though, okay? Because I am absolutely in love with this rice paper. It's not as thin as the tissue paper, And I need to tell you that it's the texture and the thickness is more of, I don't know if you ever touched um papyrus or recycled paper. This is more like something like this. You can see the fiber in the paper, and it doesn't tear as easily as the usual rice paper would. So I was super happy about it. Now what I'm doing here is I'm looking for the center of each drawer, just to make sure that when I put the rice paper on, it's going to be straight. And off we go. I'm helping myself with some painter's tape. I'm going to be using Mod Podge, by the way, to stick the tissue paper, the rice paper, to my drawer front. Um, Now, a word of advice: if you decide that you need something to help you position the tissue paper or the rice paper, um, it's safe if you assume that wherever you put the tape, that part is going to be somehow broken or damaged in a way. uh, because when you try to pull the paint off your rice paper, well, that might tear or something. So I recommend being very careful and planning ahead where you want to put your tape, so in case it tears, you are not going to be in tears, if I may say. So I'm using here a very generous amount of Mod Podge. Uh, I don't want this tissue paper to come off anytime soon. So yes, loads of Mod Podge. When the Mod Podge was nice and dry, what I did is I cut the paper between each drawer so they can obviously be pulled out separately. And a word of advice, and I think it was Sabrina from Saps Rehabs recently saying, and this is a thing I was using without actually thinking about it, but I think it's worth repeating her words. When you do your cut, try to cut just under the drawer. Okay, so not on the top part, cut just right under the bottom part. So the very edge of the tissue paper or decoupage paper can be folded over the edge, and that will give you a nice and clean line whenever someone looks down at the piece while standing. I sealed my decoupage paper with Mod Podge because that was what I had at hand. And when that was finished, when that was ready, I took a plate. I like those, the normal ceramic plates because of the ceramics. These plates can be cleaned very, very easily. And what you're seeing me do here is I took a spoon or two of my base paint. I took a spoon or two of off-white paint, and what I'm doing now is I'm mixing the two on the plate just to blend in nicely the decoupage paper. Now, as for the hardware, I decided to custom paint my poles. And yeah, I love giving myself extra work, like totally, like. But anyways, this is me. You just need to accept me as I am. So I bought 12 poles because they're gonna be two on every drawer. I'm gently scuff sanding all of them, and now I'm putting them on this carton egg holder to in preparation for paint. If you want to paint your hardware easily and you decide to use one of those carton holders, again, a word of advice, when you put your pole onto the screw, make sure you go all the way down so that the pole doesn't move, because then when you paint, it's it's easier to hold the screw from the bottom and just paint around the pole. If you just put it very lightly, they will keep on turning with your brush, and that's kind of annoying when you're trying to quickly paint a lot of hardware. And here we go, all done. Then I took some 120 grit sandpaper and I aged the sides a bit. I just wanted to get rid of some layers so I could see the layers that are at the very bottom of all that, but I wasn't distressing anything. So I was just taking layers of paint off, but I wasn't distressing till bare wood. Finally, I was able to protect everything with clear wax by Rust-Oleum. And I'm telling you, you can laugh, but it was wax on, wax off, wax on, wax off, wax on, wax off. Now, I need to tell that this project was, well, consuming quite a lot of my time and energy, and for as much as I enjoyed doing it, I was actually happy that I was coming to the very, very, very end of the whole thing. I used black wax to age the piece even more, just a little bit. The wax I'm using is by Rust-Oleum. And here I'm taking off the excess. Just remember that when you put dark wax, you can take off as much as you feel like by using clear wax. It's just a matter of taste. I wanted it to be lightly aged at the edges. And this is what I did. If you prefer more, well, you leave more wax. If you prefer less, well, then you take more wax off. Oh yeah, and this project wouldn't be complete if I didn't use some gold gilding wax. This is a gold gilding wax by La Pajarita, and it's in this old aged gold color. So that fits perfectly the color palette on my piece. I still have to add the pools to my piece, but that's pretty much it. I was thinking about using gold ones, but that would be too much gold, so I decided that these were the best choice. So ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much it. Just a quick reminder what the tables looked like before, and here's the after. I hope you enjoyed the transformation. Please, 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 again, check out the playlist, check out the other YouTubers, and enjoy the pieces. See you in the next one.